Welcome to the Somos Sunnyside podcast, brought to you by the Office of Public Information, where we are sharing stories about the bright side of education.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. Today we have the honor of visiting Star Academic High School, and it's one of our three high schools, and the part I love most about doing these interviews is when we have students involved. So I'm going to start off with our student today. Our student today is Esteban Velazquez. How are you, Esteban?
I'm good. How are you?
He's a little shy, but we're going to get him talking right now. We're going to get him talking a lot. So Esteban's going to tell us a little bit about his experience here at Star. Also have the honor of interviewing and having on the show Mr. Paul Ibirogba. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah,
Did I nail it? Good, because I know I'm going to screw up your last name at some point here. And so Mr. Ibirogba is the marketing teacher here at Star, and that's a career technical education course through JTED. And so it's one of the options that students have to choose from here at Star Academic High School. And so, the month of February, we're kicking off and highlighting our amazing career and technical education courses that we offer throughout the district. So we're going to be visiting Sunnyside, we're going to be visiting Desert View, but we're starting off with Star. We're kicking it off here at Star Academic High School. This building definitely has a special place in my heart, as we have a lot of amazing students doing amazing things here, and really just trying to capture that piece of the student experience, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's making sure that students have voice and choice in their course selections, that they're getting the most out of what they want in high school. So, that's something that will help them down the road if they choose post-secondary, if they choose workforce, or if they choose both, right? So let's start off with Mr. Ibirogba here, and tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know you're new to Star, first year. What are your experiences? Where do you come from? And how's your first year going here at Star?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mr. Gastelum. So a little bit of background, I was a teacher for 7 years. I taught English. I actually, trained in Texas. I did my alternative certification there. I passed my exams and everything, and then I heard about this opportunity to teach in Korea, which I thought was pretty cool at the time, and so I was like, okay, I'll try it out, and I ended up overseas, and I did pretty much all of my teaching career was overseas, right,
Wow.
for those 7 years. And then I went into the business world, the corporate world, and that's where I got the business experience. I worked in media, and then most recently a security firm as a CEO of a security firm. And that all started with me being a business analyst. And I had some suggestions that I made that the company should go toward, and they took that. And the company did so well that they ended up bringing me in as a CEO, and the board approved that. And I didn't think I was ready for that. But ultimately, I stepped up. I got in the position, and a pretty big company, over 8,000 employees. So it was a big responsibility, and I got the business experience. Ultimately, it was really stressful. I was traveling a lot. I didn't see my family much, and so I decided to come back into the education field, and this time teach business, so I could give back, have more free time, and do something that I also enjoy, which is teaching. So now I can kind of combine the two loves for teaching and business at the same time.
Absolutely. There's something so rewarding about teaching, right? And I think that, people don't get into this because of the money, because you're not going to get rich teaching, but you get into it because of the impact that you can make on young people's lives, and it's about the purpose, right? The purpose of making sure we're educating our young people, and the satisfaction we get as adults doing that. So how did you hear about Star? I know you have, you talked about your experiences, which are pretty amazing experiences. You've been a teacher, you've been in the business sector, you've been a CEO, and you're bringing all that experience here to these amazing kiddos in this amazing community. And so what grabbed your attention, and why did you land here at Star?
I wanted to make it, like, you do this for the impact, right? As you said, it's not for the money. And I wanted to make as much impact as possible. And I saw what Star was doing and how it was really more about, the credit deficient students who needed, to graduate or were at risk of dropping out. And I felt like there's nowhere I can make more impact than here, right? And I did have opportunities to go elsewhere, but this is where I said this is the perfect fit. I saw the fact that, Star's graduation rate is lower than the average, and And I wanted to be a part of the reason why we can drive that up and hopefully help students succeed, because I'm passionate about business. And coming here, it's been very rewarding, because I find out that students here are very career driven, which is what CT is all about. And I think I believe I'm making an impact. And I guess I'll let Esteban talk more about what my course is like on that. But hopefully I am.
Well, I'm sure you are. I mean, we're confident you are, and we thank you for choosing Sunnyside, because we know teachers have many options, right? But it's something about this community. Once you start working here, it's hard to leave, right? I mean, because the kids are so great. And so, you know, we thank you for choosing Sunnyside, and definitely, you know, as people know or may not know out there, Star Academic High School is an alternative high school, right? It's those students that come here on different pathways, right? I mean, life gets busy. Sometimes it throws you a curveball, and then sometimes you get a little behind on credits, and you know, a lot of our students get here to Star for different reasons, but it's still an amazing place. Don't discredit our students. I mean, they're here to learn, as you said. I love that you threw in that piece of they're career driven, because they're amazing kids, and you know, sometimes high school is a game of credits, and we got to make sure that we put them right back on that path to graduate. So let's talk to Esteban a little bit. You know, so what has your experience been like here at Star, Esteban? So talk a little bit about that first, and then let's talk about some of the courses that you're taking with Mr. Ibirogba here, and we'll highlight what he teaches here.
Yeah, so I had fell back in credits, like you said, how some students fell back on my freshman year due to health reasons. During 8th grade, I was in the ICU unit for about 3 months, and I feel like psychologically that like messed with me. And so I didn't really feel like going out much or going to school, so I had tried doing online, but then even then, just like being at home, it was like a lot. So I just like slacked on it, you know, and it like caught up to me. So I had to come here, and I've just been doing like good, honestly, getting my grades, picking up my credits. I'm like working, so sometimes I can't do the weekend academy, so sometimes that like bothers me, but I'm still like trying to do it on. And as far as the experience, it's been good. It's a really like calm school. When I first came, it was less students, so it was definitely more like one-on-one with the teachers.
Right.
But they still try. Mr. Paul has done a very good job of making sure to make the students feel as if they're like heard.
Right.
I know I can always like go to him and ask him any questions, whether it's like business related or out of school, but you know, appropriate as well.
Absolutely, and that's when students thrive, right? It's those students thrive when there's this intentional and positive interaction between students and teachers about content, right? And that's when students will be thriving at their best. And you know, Esteban, I want to thank you for being a little vulnerable and sharing, you know, some of your challenges, you know, before you got here to Star. You know, it's tough to sometimes be vulnerable, but you know, as I mentioned here earlier, Star is a place where people come for different reasons, right? It's just not being credit deficient or high school was too hard. I mean, I know there's that impression sometimes that people think that, oh, these kids can't cut it at the regular high school, so they go to Star, and that's not the case. That's not the case at all. You know, we all have different needs, and sometimes students thrive in a smaller environment, you know, and Star Academic High School has approximately 300 students, and there's more, as you mentioned, and you spoke real well about that, is there's more of a one-on-one with teachers. You get a little bit more attention with your academic needs, and so, you know, that's what you're seeing here at Star. So tell us, Mr. Paul or Mr. Ibirogba, I don't know what to call you now.
Most students can't pronounce like I said, most people can't pronounce my name like you can, so I tell them to call me Mr. Paul if it's easier.
Well, I broke it down in syllables. I used my old teaching skills, my world language skills, and we broke it down here. So I'll call you Mr. Ibirogba. So tell us a little bit about what you teach here at Star. You know, what are the classes you offer, and you know, and the students, you know, how do students choose to be in your class?
Okay, so it all comes down to need, first of all, right? We don't have as many electives as the bigger schools here at Star, so really the only choices you have if you need credits outside of your core classes will be business or art. I think we have an online PE class as well, which is, which is there. But for the most part, that's how students, if they need the credits for business, they would enroll. I try to do a little bit of recruiting, but I hear that the program's pretty popular, so
I think you're hearing right.
So, the classes get pretty full, and we had to even take some out for year 2 because some of them were just not, they didn't do that well the first year.
Gotcha.
But we had more than we wanted to moved on. And so first year is essentials, the essentials of marketing, which would be kind of the basics. It goes into entrepreneurship a little bit, about how to start and set up a business, different types of businesses, and then it also gives them the basics of marketing. So we're talking things like customer service, things like marketing in terms of digital, a little bit of digital marketing, SWOT analysis, things like that. And then the second year is a little bit more in depth. So they're really going more into marketing. We're going to start a lot of digital marketing in the second year. And focus more on technology. And then the third year would be kind of they call it more like an internship that's why they call it real world experience, because they're doing
Gotcha.
a lot more hands-on activities the third year.
Cool, super cool. So Esteban, tell us, what year are you in? Are you in marketing 1, marketing 2?
Marketing 2.
Marketing 2, okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what's your favorite thing to learn in the class. I mean, what do you guys got going on? What's really popped in your mind in terms of the class?
Yeah, so far, year 1 was honestly really good. I liked it. I really enjoyed it, and then it was kind of like a new experience than from having to choose from like a art class or something just to get it out the way. So it was definitely like something new, and it was also like positive, like how Mr. said that he tried to do like a positive impact. I feel like he's done like a good job, because a lot of like students feel like comfortable in this class or like going to him or talking to him. So I feel like he's doing like a good good job from his part.
So if you had to evaluate him, is it like an A+, is it a B-, is it a C, or would you make him take marketing 1 again? I mean, where would you grade him at?
He's a good teacher. I'd give him an A.
You give him an A, all right, good. That's gonna help your A. It's gonna help your grade. So what's your message to students? When they come into this class, what can students expect to learn? I know Mr. Ibirogba talked a little bit about year 1 being marketing essentials, year 2 being strategic marketing, and then year 3 the real world application pieces. So what's the highlight for you in taking this class? Like, what's popped in your head about, man, that was so meaningful to me to learn this piece? And if a student came up to you and said, hey Esteban, what can I learn in that class? Is that class worth taking? Because I know electives are limited here. A lot of the electives are online. I know there's world language, there's PE, there's some other health electives and stuff like that, but nothing beats in person, right?
Yeah.
In-person classes. So tell us a little bit about what would be your message to students.
Yeah, so I feel it's definitely a class people should take. As far as also something I've personally heard a lot growing up is they don't teach us anything about the real world, in school. And I feel like with this class, I actually learned like a lot of things, like he explained to us a lot of things about like how to do taxes and like all the things that go into businesses and how to weigh out like costs and like everything that has to do with that as well. And we also get to learn like just things that are important as far as business, such as like learning how to manage also your time with it, manage like the people that work there, also how to learn to do what type of like marketing, if it's going to be like an online store or in person, also choosing the correct like manufacturers or choosing the correct market for your product as well. And then we also learn to focus on like customer satisfaction. So like in one of our articles, it says it's important to focus on customer satisfaction, so then your product can technically just sell itself. So learning to like analyze what people like, so we don't have to necessarily do as much work, so that we already know what people like, and then they just come to us because they know we are like a reliable source for them.
Absolutely. God, you sound like you can teach the class. Sounds like you're ready. We're going to take a quick break, so hang on to those thoughts, but super impressed with just how off the cuff you're telling us about this course, and I feel like I'm learning a lot just listening to what experiences you've had. So So stay tuned. We're going to be right back right after this commercial break.
Sunnyside students can have it all, learning and growing to graduate college, career, and community ready. Don't believe us? Just watch. At Sunnyside Unified School District, we are preparing our graduates with real-world skills and experiences. Our graduates are leaving Sunnyside to pursue an Ivy League education, becoming collegiate-level athletes, and earning prestigious scholarships such as the Gates Millennium, Dell, and Dorrance.
All right, so you just gave a great explanation about the student experience, and if I was a student, that would definitely hook me in wanting to take this course. I think one of the things that stand out at me is that piece that you mentioned about taking courses that you can apply to real life situations, right? Because sometimes we're in courses and we're like, why am I taking this class? I'm never going to use it in life, and this, and that. You hear that a lot in some of your math classes, right? Like geometry and algebra, and little do students sometimes know that you'll end up using some of that stuff, right? Depending on what field you're in. And so, I hear you have a school-based enterprise here to get more hands-on experiences. So your school-based enterprise is you have a little store here, a little snack bar. So if either one of you, tell us a little bit about that. How did that start? I know you're in the early stages of it. What's the vision for it, and why the importance of having something like that other than the hot Cheetos and Takis and stuff like that are popular to kids?
Okay. Real quick, just to add to what Esteban said, because he went into the personal finance courses, which are part of the course. We do a lot of personal finance in this as well, because we want to get them ready for the real world, and that's part of what we're supposed to be teaching. So we talk about taxes, we talk about things like, handling pay stubs, and, some of the students were grateful because they didn't realize they're supposed to be getting paid overtime if they work over 40 hours, and they're like, wow, so I've been getting cheated this whole time? And I'm like, yeah, go talk to your employer. So they learn a lot that really helps them in life.
Absolutely.
And, I just wanted to add to that, so but with the snack bar, it is a school-based enterprise, and right now the way we have about 5 students working in the snack bar for each period. They hand over to the next period, so they count up the money, and then there's paperwork involved, and they're learning how to manage money and handle customer service. Right now, obviously, all their customers will be from the school, so it's either teachers or other students, and they do have a card reader, so they learn to use that, and they take cash, they manage money and all kinds of good skills, hopefully, that they're gaining from being
absolutely.
involved in
What's that been like, Esteban? Since you guys have started that, what have you learned from running a school-based enterprise like the snack bar here?
I've definitely learned how to analyze what people like more.
What's the popular choice?
When we first started, we kind of started with our motto of having a variety, and just wanting to have everything so that people would come here more. And it did work. Don't get me wrong, just that there was just a few items, maybe 2-3 items that wouldn't sell as much. So then we would just take that into account and just remove them for the next restock. And then we would also ask people hey, what would you like to get added to the menu, or what are some things that they personally like to eat after school, or things like that, or snack on.
Feedback from your customers, huh? So that's important as well, right? So this thing's probably going to turn into a Buc-ee's, man, pretty soon, huh? I mean, Buc-ee's is the hot thing out there. I don't know if it's come to Arizona yet, but definitely. Do you guys have a cool name for your snack shack or something like that?
Yeah, so we named it the Star Snack Shack.
Star Snack Shack. Okay. Cool.
Since it's school-based, we wanted to have it very straightforward and also appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Esteban talked about how business plans change, right? Because that was one of the things we talked about. Our initial business plan that they made as students showed that our plan was to have more variety than our competitors, aka the vending machine, right?
I'm sure they're real happy about it.
Right. So, we wanted to have more variety, but we also wanted to be cheaper, right? And we realized that having more variety wasn't necessarily the best thing to do, because some stuff was expiring and they weren't that popular, whereas, it's the 80-20 rule. 80%, 20% of things are basically what's bringing us most of our profits, right? Yeah. And so I think Esteban decided as president, and I asked him, I said, do you want to continue this way? And he said, no, let's let's pivot, let's change our business plan, and let's focus on just the items that sell the most, instead of having so much variety. So I think they're learning how to adjust businesses based on demand as well.
Absolutely. It's important to make those business decisions, right? And making sure that I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't, because I've never run a business. But it's that piece of, to keep your business alive, you got to make good decisions, right? And so I did hear that piece of talking how you have to adjust what you sell, right, based on what the consumer is wants and what they're buying, right? And so that's super cool. So what's your message, Mr. Ibirogba, to students? I'm sure it seems like you're a popular teacher here on campus, and kids want to take your class, especially when you have to, when your classes are at capacity, which is a great problem to have. What's your message to students in terms of what this class offers and why it would be a good choice for them to join your class? The other question I have is there dual enrollment opportunities down the road for this? Because I know a lot of our CT classes have dual enrollment opportunities as well. So the message is that we're only in the beginning, and if you come back a year from now, I'm sure by then, we're in the process of setting up our second business, and the plan is to have at least 3 school-based enterprises. So that way we can have students working simultaneously. Right now it's only a limited number of students that are able to work, and then they come to and then they make up the classwork the next day. Mm-hmm. But we want to have days that are just for business, because to keep getting that funding, they really should be doing hands-on activities at least 51% of the time. And with 3 businesses, we'll have all the students just working maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday will be class days where we're doing assignments and things like that. So that's the ultimate plan. Once Mr. Castro's in the process, we've talked about that. We're going to get that T-shirt business set up. They're going to be able to make T-shirts for Star and I was just going to ask you, what are the other business ideas? So one of them would be some Star swag, right? Some merchandise, T-shirts. And is there a third one yet, or not yet?
The third one, well, they had an idea, which was a vending machine business, but right now that's kind of on hold because we're trying to see how possible it is for them to run that. Okay. It is a passive income business, which is great because they could, it wouldn't really affect, them being in school and things like that. They could kind of refill it whenever, we get a chance. We have an hour and a half classes here, so we could go and refill it during class. But I think the business office is kind of concerned about whether they could handle that much, that kind of business. So. This is only the beginning. That would be my message. Sorry, what was the other part of that question?
No, it was just more of a question in regards to students, those students that are wanting to take your class. What's your message to them? And then the other part of the question was this piece of dual enrollment. Will there be dual enrollment opportunities in the future?
So that's the plan. I know Mr. Castro mentioned that if we wanted to offer that, we could. And so I'll see what I need to do to, I'm in the first year, and Mr. Castro is great director, by the way. He's always available for us, and I really appreciate him because
he's gonna love hearing that, man. You just made his day. You made the month of February for him. I mean, I'm sure his ears are gonna perk up when he hears that. We're just giving him a hard time. So he is. He's done a good job of supporting all the programs, and I always look back. I have to remind myself. When you look back 20 years ago in school, we had like vocational ed, right? You had wood shop, you had certain classes that were they were cool classes. You had welding, you had some of the classes that are still offered now, but it's evolved so much. There's so much more now for students in terms of choice, and there's a lot more opportunities for dual enrollment, and so, and I'm just looking back at, you just started here this past year, you're in year 1, and you're doing so much. You're doing a lot of amazing things. I enjoyed taking the tour of the facilities here. You got your store, you got your inventory room, and you guys are just thinking of these big ideas of because you want to impact the student experience. And so Esteban, what are your future goals? Putting you on the spot here, because what do you want to do after you graduate here from Star Academic High School?
So after I graduate, I want to get an associate's degree in the automotive program.
Okay.
And then either start working for Chevy or Ford.
Okay.
And then once I'm I think once I'm there for like a year, or I think once I get the associate's degree completely, I'm able to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So it would be 2 weeks in the dealer actually like working on people's cars or customers' cars, fixing whatever's wrong with them, and then the other 2 weeks would be back at the like Pima Community College doing the practice on the engines that are just there.
Yeah.
Because although the program like helps you for building cars, it's kind of like different because when you're just doing the program, all the engines are clean and like all the silver parts and like, the metal is all just like polished, so you could easily like rebuild and deconstruct engines. But once you have to do it in like the real shops, you know, you have
full of gunk, huh?
Yeah, and all the buildup, and your hands get all filled with like grease and everything. So I feel like it would be like a good experience for me.
Yeah.
And then I've always been like into the car world since I was growing up. My father was in it as well, my grandfather.
Okay.
So I've always just been like around it, and you know, I feel like it's a good career choice and also a business choice if I could one day open my own shop.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like cars are always going to be around, so that's a business that will for sure be around.
Yeah, and you're learning these business skills, right? So if you ever did have your own shop or, you know, or whatnot, I mean, you definitely have a little experience with that through taking these courses. So, you know, we want to wish you well, wish you luck in that. I'm sure you'll do well. You know, and it's always good to have goals and be ambitious as we move forward, right? As we graduate from high school. And so, any last closing remarks, thoughts that you wanna put out there to our listeners?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I just want to, I hope I can take this opportunity to just really commend Esteban on the work he's done, taking leadership, getting elected president, and the leadership role he's taken and the job he does, because these guys work behind the scenes, right? They do a lot of stuff. I always tell them it's their money. I can't access it. They have to sign to get the money out and then handle the snack bar, and it's going to be the same thing with the t-shirt business. And he's taken such a big role. He stepped up. He's really shown his leadership capabilities, and I'm really proud of him for that. And in terms of the last words, it would just be, with this district and the way that I've seen, I don't know about the district, but with STAR, with the way our students, you know, their mentality, like I said, they're really career focused, and they want courses that apply to them in life. And what we're doing here in the marketing program, being able to teach them about life skills and just, you know, personal finance and you know, students come to me for resume, you know, help. And I helped one student who said, you know, I really appreciate, I got a job after that, right? I was like, she didn't know how to make a resume, you know. So I think our students need more of this, and I'm glad we have this program, and hopefully it continues to grow, and you guys continue. And I know there are a lot of CTE programs across the district. You know, with the way our students think, I think this is a really good fit for what they, you know, how they like to learn, more hands-on, and I hope we continue in